All right. Coming out of our first scrimmage, it was a challenging week for them this week overall. I mean, we were on spring break previous week. You're off for 10 days, and you come back, and we made mostly installation prior to going on spring break, and one day we got went live a little bit, and come back for spring break. You got to challenge them with the installation, but also with being able to continue to improve every day. And we got a lot of young guys out there, a lot of young guys. You don't realize it until you actually get in the moment. You start looking, you have the film on, and you hit him like, that's a freshman, true sophomore, should be at prom tonight. Just got here. I mean, they're young in a lot of key spots, but they're really talented. But it's teaching them how to practice. You got to teach them how to practice before you teach them, before they learn to play. And we've gone. Like I said, it was a hard week. We went 77 plays of live reps on Thursday, and then turned around and we finished with 161 today, live reps. All three groups going. Everybody had an opportunity to get out there and play. So different parts of the scrimmage today were, we had some sections that were very, very generic, very vanilla, offensively and defensively. So we can see young guys and new guys get out there and go play and play fast. It's all right, Alex. No, you're good. You're fine. You're dealing with recruitment. But 161 plays today, it's a fair number of plays. Last year, day one scrimmage, in spring scrimmage 1, I think we ended up getting to 130, somewhere in there. And I watched that scrimmage last night just to have a little bit of a barometer of where we are as a football team. And you start looking through that lens every day, and it's like, hey, we got to get better at this, and this. But we've come a long way in the course of a year. But that has nothing to do with anything this year. We need every possible rep of every day we have left, to continue to develop these guys. But overall, I thought it was a good day. A couple of bumps and bruises out there, but nothing really bad. And that's the good thing. These guys are really tackling a lot right now, and popping back up, and you start to get worried when you're doing a walkthrough and somebody trips over somebody or something. But no, they're playing football the right way. They're learning to close the ball, multiple people tackle. If you have a missed tackle, it should only go for 2 or 3 yards at the most. Everyone should be rallying to the ball, and we're getting better at that. Some of the good things out there today. I thought the pass rush for a first scrimmage was really good. Really, really good, and that was whether some of the third down fronts and blitzes and whatnot, but also just in some of the normal down situations early on when we weren't blitzing or moving, just straight pass rush. Thought Braden Manley showed up today, Montre Bradford showed up, Andre Fuller showed up, disruptive, and actually had a 65-yard fumble recovery for a touchdown. So a lot of those guys, some of the inside guys showed up just pushing the pocket. We got a long way to go in pass protection on the offensive line. A lot of these new guys and the guys that hadn't played together, you see cracks and they're just getting used to being next to each other. But then you see sometimes where guys truly get beat one-on-one. So we got a long way to go there. We really do. I can't get mad at Coach Mack. And we had 400+ coaches at our clinic here on Thursday. He gets the pass right there. Now, the protection's got to improve. They got to be confident to stop the guys in their tracks. We're getting bled back too much into the quarterback, not having time to throw the ball. I thought when the quarterbacks had time today, I thought they executed well, did a really good job. I mean, we had some big plays by receivers, some explosives. Bailey had a really big day. Got a lot of different ways. Malik got the ball different ways. Zion's starting to show up. Dean Patterson today had some big plays. And tight end wise, Luke Harpering was productive. JT Byrne had some production out there and some things. So a lot of like we've done, a lot of guys are getting the ball. A lot of guys were distributing it a lot of different ways. Jamal was probably even on catches and runs with what we were doing with him. Had one high hurdle. He thought he channeling his inner Najee Harris. Hurdled one of the DBs out there. So Then we had some third down situations, short yardage situations. Short yardage is something we've really spent a lot of time on, really since the season ended, philosophically, schematically, personnel-wise. So it was good to see some of those live reps out there today and some of the things we've done. Trey Maddox had a big time. He had 250-plus yard runs. That's a big man moving now, and I think he had 3 touchdowns. All in all, offensively, we were able to get the ball distributed who we wanted to get it distributed to, be able to see guys go. And a lot of the runs we had, we had some quick hitters inside that popped, or some that might go around the edge. Defensively, we've got to work on our setting an edge. All the contain elements of the defense. A lot of that several times today. They clogged everything up in the middle, and the ball bounces, and we're getting blocked out on the perimeter. We got to pick up our physicality on the back end of DB. From a getting off of blocks, using our hands, defeating blockers, tackling, being short tacklers. We got a long way to go with that. A lot of linebackers out there playing. It was good to see those guys running around a little bit. Cayman Spalding, 35 is really starting to show up in a lot of different ways. We've got to play in a lot of different positions right now in different groupings. So really force feeding a lot of stuff to him. But when he knows what he's doing, he makes plays. EJ's been a really, really solid player in there for us for the first several weeks. I think Saeed had an interception today. Had a good play and a good interception. And then we got 4 or 5 punts in, live punts. Seeing the new punter out there, and he had some really good kicks. One just missed on a sky kick down kind of across midfield. And then we had PAT field goals, live PAT and field goal today. So got some special teams working today. So it was all in all, a lot of reps, a lot of work, a lot of guys playing. We got to really evaluate this thing. Be very critical with it. Make sure we're showing the guys a path of improvement. Show when you're coaching young kids, you got to show a path of you got to show the improvement. You got to show day 1 and 2, and then, hey, here's what you were doing then, here's where you are now. So it gives them encouragement, and it encourages guys to see themselves improving, that know what they're doing is right and the right thing. But we also have to be very critical about the mistakes and point them out and call them out, and we have to get them fixed. We have to get them corrected, right? The big goal of spring is we have to improve day to day, week to week, and this time next week, right, we have to sit here and say that we improved from scrimmage 1 to scrimmage 2, collectively all 3 phases. So, could talk about it forever, but now it's y'all's turn.
When you talked about the young guys, the offensive line has a lot of freshmen and sophomores. What have you seen from the development at the center and the tackle position there?
Center and tackle. Saw a lot of sacks today. A lot of pressure, a lot of sacks. A lot of talented guys that are spinning a little bit right now. Center spot, Tana and Harrison are both, doing some really good things. You ever snapped a football? You ever snapped one? Have you done it? It's hard.
Yeah.
With a 300-pounder on top of you and making all the calls.
Hard enough when they're not under center.
Love you, Rod. And you have to. It's hard to get better at center if they're not live, real reps of doing it. So we got 2 guys I feel like are going to be really good players for us, though. And we'll get Jimmy Bryson who'll come in the summer. We've got a lot of guys repping there. The tackles, Ethan has done some really good things. Really picked up where he left off after his freshman year, and then as he kind of got back in the mix towards the end of the year last year. So he's done some good things, but still got to get some consistency out of him. That's a lot of plays we went today at this time of the year. As far as the conditioning goes for him. So, but we got to sustain. You got to push through the hard things. You got to play when you're banged up. And Jameson's played on the right side. He's done a good job in the run game. Consistency and protection. A lot of that is just getting used to playing with the guy next to you. Red is playing high level football. Keelan Rudge is playing a really, really high level of football. As we continue to, different situations that'll come in this next week. they'll continue to be exposed to a lot of different things, and that's what we want. We want these young kids to be exposed to a lot of things, and then when we finish up with the spring game, they'll have some time off, and then we'll come back in and we'll restart installation again, and then they'll hear it and they'll be like, "Oh, I know that." And so we'll go through it, and then we'll rep it again, and go through a whole other cycle of installation and get to preseason camp, and that's the path of development for these young guys. It's only you got to rep them and you got to do it. I mean, they don't really care what we say up on a board and drawing circles and all that kind of stuff. I mean, they want to do something, see themselves what they did, how they did it good or bad, and then how they're going to do it again to improve themselves.
Jackson.
That was a long answer for your question, wasn't it? And you didn't write anything down. If this thing broke, it would be bad.
When we talked to Coach Faulkner a couple weeks ago, he mentioned how he wanted to see a progression in the vertical passing game. Where would you say that part of the offense is so far in the spring?
Done a good job with it. Like I said, when the Q's had time today, they pushed the ball downfield. But in order to improve your vertical passing game, a lot of that's off play action. You got to be consistent running the football. You got to time. And right now we're not building packages to game plan the other side. We're not, hey, we're gonna run this way, then set it up and it looks just like this on the play action and get this matchup and those things. We're calling plays just to get them repped and get guys seen and see the guys. Look, y'all have heard me say this, and I'm a firm believer. All right, all schemes are personnel driven. Right? To sit there and call a play or call a blitz or a run or a pass, just because that's the best one to call. If you don't have the guys that can execute it, you shouldn't be doing it. That's why we coach. All right, so we've got some guys. I think Eric Rivers. He's not full go as of right now, but stuff as far as being live, but other stuff he's doing it once he's out there, and we get some other pieces in there. I think we have a chance to really improve that part of the offense. And they've done a good job in some of the intermediate throwing game. That's where we're some of the things across the middle or some 6-7 yard plays. And those are good move the stick, move the chain plays.
That was my responsibility.
No, y'all good.
It's like a game show, like whoever gets off the door.
Behind door number 3.
You're good to go.
Yeah, you're good to go.
Yeah, you just mentioned the spring game. What is the future of the spring game here at Georgia Tech?
Here?
Yeah.
I don't know if I have a say in that or not. I hope so, but I mean, there's going to be one as long as, hopefully as long as I'm here. I want it. Look, we've gone through a lot now for the last really 2.5 years of really getting the students here and the fans engaged, and the student body here is so important to our experience and our atmosphere on game day, right? And spring game is another experience for them. I love spring games. I love them. Right? It allows. I mean, if I was in the fraternity house down the street, I'd be sleepless waiting for the spring game. I like to go wake them up in the mornings and bang on their doors, but we've worked hard to get those to bring them involved and get them involved in what we're doing, and that's a treat for them. It really is. It's a treat for our kids. I mean, you work your butt off during spring ball, and really for the opportunity to compete on Saturdays, and whether it's a scrimmage or now you get fans in the stands and put the uniform on. I mean, that's a fun time. I don't. It's a personal opinion, but there's a lot of different ways you can do spring. I'm sure that could be a whole nother conversation, but I enjoy spring games. I like the spring games, and as long as we're at Georgia Tech and I have any say in it, and hopefully my boss, hopefully Jay believes the same thing, and ultimately Dr. Cabrera. But I love the atmosphere of a spring game. I can't wait for white and gold weekend here.
On another note, a big recruiting cycle right now. How are things going recruiting-wise? Has your message changed over the last couple of years to recruits about what they can?
The core message stays the same, but yeah, I think every year you go through this, you become a little more. I don't want to say better at it, but you're a little more aware of things you're saying and how you're saying it and how you're constructing it and the information you're getting and, to construct those conversations. And, it's a real positive thing going on right now. Obviously I can't talk about kids or whatnot, but, when we started this thing 2.5 years ago, it was, no frills, all sweat and work, and we ain't trying to be some fun, cool place. And all of a sudden now, the kids, it's a cool place. And I guess it's come full circle. I guess hard work is cool again.
First spring with Coach Gideon. I know we talked to him earlier in spring about how this is kind of about seeing personnel and kind of what you are good at. Kind of how far has the defense come in these last few weeks? Have you seen a big jump, or are they still kind of trying to figure
I thought they
things
made a jump
out?
today. I really do. Had some success. The thing I was not happy with today was the ebbs and flows of the game. I mean, when you're playing a game and you're competing, you got to come out for 3.5 hours and give every bit of energy and the level you come out at, the standard you have, whatever fancy, funny word you want to have. All right, it's got to be here the whole time. It can't be dictated upon what happens out on the field. All right. Jamal was a great example. No matter who was on that field, Jamal Haynes is running up and down that sideline, cheering his butt off for him. Malik's another one, same thing. They're cheering their butt. And then some guys they're on the sideline. They're worried about the last play they were in there, the bad play they had or the bad series. I mean, those things can't dictate. And I told the team, I said, if you allow that to happen, what is that? That's 7-6 is what that is. That's 7-6. All right, and we've made a major emphasis, on that this year, the consistency part of it. All right, and I'm going to call it out. During the halftime of the scrimmage, I called the whole offense together and addressed them about it. And I thought the second half they responded, but that's why we coach now. But we have to build those habits in our guys so it doesn't, so we don't have to have a, kumbaya rally on the 50-yard line in the middle of a game.
You talked about, getting some push up the middle on the defensive line. We all know about Vandenberg. What are you seeing from the transfer Alexander?
See, it's kind of funny because I stand back behind the offense, and I didn't see a lot of him today because he was doing his job, but I saw the back of the O-line's jerseys coming at me, so he was doing something good. Nah, he's been a real pleasant surprise for us. We knew he was a good player. Now that he's gotten in shape and kind of learning the way we do things, he's a guy that's got he's got good balance, got good feet, and he can move and make do the things we do on defense, play the block, play within the scheme of the defense. I've been very pleased with him. Now JJ's a game breaker. JJ had a good day.
Anything else?
That's it.
Appreciate it.
Y'all are easy.
Everybody's late.
Thank y'all.
Trying to get out of here.
Go Jackets.
JJ's got a podcast coming out.